Honorable Justice Shri Vipin Sanghi, Additional Secretary Home Shri Shamal Mishra, Scientist G, Mighty Dr. Sandeep Chatterjee, my colleague for many years Shri Piyush Srivastav, and Secretary Railways Milind Yoskarji, my batchmate Mr. D.K. Singh, and my colleagues in DRPG, Puneet Yadavji, Jaya Dubeji, and of course Sushma Singh, our distinguished colleague from Jammu and Kashmir cadre. We've just heard a very erudite and eloquent talk from Justice Sanghi on improving justice delivery. Constitution Day 2023 is quite historic. In fact, hitherto, individual ministries were conducting events and we were submitting reports to the Ministry of Social Justice. As part of these events, the DRPG had the Constitution Day webinar. We participated in reading the preamble, and the Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs also circulated an online reading of the preamble, and a Constitution Day quiz was also circulated in which thousands of officials participated. But this is the first time we have a Constitution Day colloquium that the Ministry of Law has convened, and I think it was quite unique that it brings together bureaucracy with the higher judiciary and gives us an opportunity to listen to the words of erudition and eloquence, that the wisdom that the great judges of India bring. In fact, as part of our Constitution Day events, we had a very prolonged webinar on fundamental duties in which I had said that constitutional romanticism is a reality. The Constitution of India evokes patriotism, commitment to nation building, and a deep sense of dedication to the national cause. Chanting the preamble to ourselves is the best way to give it a fresh lease of life. India's constitutional values are deeply rooted in high moral tones with a universal dimension. And these are some things that I had felt every time I read and reread the Constitution over several decades. We have a brief presentation from you as the Department of Governance for the Government of India, which is responsible for digital empowerment of citizens and also for the digital transformation of institutions, implementing the government's policy maxim of maximum governance, minimum government. Can we go to the next slide, please? On the legal aspects, the Department of Administrative Reforms and Public Grievances is the custodian of the Central Secretariat Manual of Office Procedure. The first time this manual was written was way back in 1899 when the Central Secretariat Manual was being formulated, and since then there have been 16 editions. I was part of the integration of the Central Secretariat Manual of Office Procedure of 2010 with the Central Secretariat Manual of Electronic Office Procedure of 2012. It took us almost 8-9 years to put it together on how do we enable the march to a digital Central Secretariat. It resulted in a massive adoption of e-office across the central government and in state governments. In fact, the central government itself, the number of e-files went up from 400,000 to what we have today is 31 lakh e-files came into being. Also, the number of users went up to almost 70,000 users only in the Central Secretariat. The impact was even more profound in the states. For example, in Jammu and Kashmir, they had the Darbar system in which both the Jammu Secretariat and the Srinagar Secretariat operated only after the Darbar movement, when 280 truckloads of files had to be moved. The e-office enabled simultaneous operationalization of both the Jammu and Srinagar Secretariats, saving almost 200 crores per every year per annum. In fact, the Central Secretariat Manual of Office Procedure laid down the formulations in which the e-office would be used, the virtual private networks would be used, the digital signature certificates would be used, and it also developed a series of analytics for improving efficiency in decision making. Next, please. So this is a slide that gives you how the e-office movement has taken up, and today we have about 31 lakh files are e-files. We also monitor the number of levels through which a file moves. The government's decision is a file should not move more than 4 levels. And Ministries where delayering and delegation of financial powers have not taken place, or where delayering is not very effective, can be easily seen on an e-office system where the analytics present that more than 4 levels the files are being processed. Interministerial movement of files has become possible, in which you need not send thick volumes of paper across ministries, and online file movements are taken up. Currently, about 1 lakh files move across ministries every month. So that is the quantum of interministerial movement of files. 100% movement of digital receipts. The fresh receipts that are coming in the Central Secretariat have moved completely into 100%. The operationalization of the e-office and the adoption of e-office across the Central Secretariat today stands at over 90%. So most ministries are operating in above 90% category, except a few like Ministry of Home Affairs, which carry DOPT, which carry a huge volume of confidential paper, which is not taken up on e-office systems. Next, please. The use of technology was very successfully done in operationalization of multiple digital portals. One of the very successful portals that I wish to present here is the Special Campaign portal. The Special Campaign is a campaign that is oriented towards institutionalizing Swachhata and minimizing pendency in government. And over 3 years, the Special Campaign has successfully weeded out 96 lakh physical files. The quantum of record management that we are carrying has been, in terms of physical files, has come down to less than 7 lakh physical files. While we have increased the e-files, the number of physical files have come down significantly. Office sites that were taken up, 404,000 office sites were taken up under the cleanliness campaign, and more than 355 lakh square feet of space has been freed. The revenue earned from 3 campaigns has been 1,162 crores. So we've disposed in the current year alone more than 4,700 condemned vehicles, a lot of outdated electronic equipment like laptops, desktops, printers, photocopiers. Huge volumes went out. So this was a significant campaign in which best practices could be uploaded on the portal. The nodal officers were uploaded on the portal. The trail could be available, who's working, who's not working. And Ministry of Railways, who's on the panel with me, was a very active participant in implementing this campaign. And this year the campaign was taken up with a saturation approach. So every last mile office, in fact every paramilitary force across the country participated in the implementation of the Special Campaign 3.0 this year. Next, please. The Department of Administrative Reforms also monitors e-services. So this is how the e-services map of India has moved in terms of the mandatory services. We published the National E-Services Delivery Assessment, and as you can see, in 2019, the nation was having about 872 mandatory services that were operational. That was about 48% saturation was reached. By 2021, when we came up with NASDA, 56 e-services are to be provided mandatorily by all states. So 1,400 mandatory e-services were being provided across the center and states. So 69% saturation was achieved under NASDA 2021. But as we see the NASDA way forward in October 2023, we find that we have moved to about 75% of the saturation, and 1,519 mandatory e-services are being provided. The significant jump, as you can see, look at Jammu and Kashmir. It didn't have any e-service online in 2019, and by the time we come to 2023, 54 services are being provided. Next slide. This is even more interesting. This is the total number of services other than the mandatory services. That is, mandatory services include social welfare, home affairs, revenue, police. These are mandatory ones that are provided, billing that is given. But these are general e-services that are rolled out. And on average, a state rolls out about 1,000 odd e-services. And the quantum jump you can see across, look at Maharashtra. Maharashtra in the April month of 2023 was providing about 150 e-services. Today they're providing 533. The transformation in terms of Jammu and Kashmir is from 474 to 1075, the largest number of e-services being provided in Jammu and Kashmir. You can see the transformation in northeastern states also. And of course, the technologically advanced states of Telangana, Andhra, then you have Kerala, which always provided, Tamil Nadu, which provided strong digital portals, as also strong e-services deliveries. In fact, several states have come up with single sign-on facilities, Seva Sindhu being one of the most successful single sign-on facilities that the government of Karnataka has created. Next, please. The second aspect of today's discussion is innovations, and the department also conducts the Prime Minister's Awards for Excellence in Public Administration, in which it recognizes meritocracy for innovations undertaken at central government levels, state governments, and also in districts. On an average, 2,500 nominations are received every year, and I'll share with you the best practices that have been done. This is a photograph of the awardees of Civil Services Day 2023. In this very building, the Honorable Prime Minister had conferred the Civil Services Day Prime Minister's Awards for Excellence in Public Administration. Next, please. So many of these innovations that we find in the last 3 years have been based upon digital innovations. We have the PM Gati Shakti Master Plan, the National COVID-19 Vaccination Program, the generic document registration of land resources, the innovations for defense excellence, IDEX, then One Nation, One Ration Card, which is again a significantly large digital development, and the Uday Desh Ka Aam Nagrik, of course, was an infrastructure program building airports across India. But then you also had technology transformation that was seen in states. You can see the Gujarat model that was awarded, technology-driven transformation in school education system. Then the innovations carried out in the Bihar School Examination Board, and even the successful conduct of Kumbh Mela largely was based upon the digital portals they could build. Next, please. These are some of the innovations that happened that were successfully awarded across districts. And the Navpravartan startup zone of Chanpatia, West Champaran, stands out because it brought together startups who were largely migrant labor under the COVID program, along with banks, to set up one of the biggest startup zones in West Champaran district. Next, please. The second big digital platform that I wish to speak on is the CPGRS. All of you, or most of you, would have handled public grievances on the CPGRS portal. The CPGRS today represents the largest portal for citizen grievances. It is a back end for on the Right to Prime Minister portal, wherein which lakhs of grievances are filed. It's a 24/7 online grievance lodging portal. It also is integrated with all state grievance portals and with all the union territory portals. Next, please. A 10-step reform of CPGRS was undertaken following a review by the Honorable Prime Minister and a number of discussions with the Parliamentary Standing Committee, and all the ministries and states were involved with this initiative. The biggest change was One Nation, One Portal. So all states were integrated and reverse integrated with the portal. Then universalization of CPGRS 7.0 meant that the last mile officers were mapped on the system. So today the CPGRS has more than 100,000 officers mapped on the system. Enhancing the capacity of the system through next generation technology, Sevottam was used as a program for capacity building more than 100,000 officers across states and central government. Regional language interface, CPGRS, is available in all languages, and a grievance redressal index which ranks ministry's performance as also state's performance was taken. To enhance the citizen connect using digital technology, a feedback call center has been operationalized where the call center makes calls to every citizen who has filed a grievance. And a data strategy unit to analyze big data, something like 20 lakh grievances. Today's government governance, as you can see, is data-driven governance. In God we trust, but everybody brings data to the table. So monitoring reports, publications are very important so that data dissemination and knowledge sharing is available. Next, please. So this is the CPGRAM 7.0, otherwise it had to move through, a grievance would move through multiple levels. Today it reaches a last mile. This happened because the number of categories were enhanced, as also the number of grievance officers were enhanced. So we have about 12,000 categories that are available on the CPGRAM model, and more than 100,000 officers that are mapped. So if you want to file a grievance with post office in Guntur or post office in Tiruvannamalai, you can immediately sit down in Delhi also and file it saying that I sent a speed post and it has not reached. And you'll get a grievance redressal within about 2 weeks' time. Next, please. The use of next generation technology, the DRPG collaborated with IIT Kanpur to develop an AI/ML based model, which was also featured in a number of magazines as one of the innovations of the year in terms of governance. So it enabled identification of habitual complainants, also urgent grievances, senior citizens grievances, pension grievances, family pension grievances, and an intelligent grievance monitoring dashboard has been provided, and the login IDs and passwords have been given to all ministries, all secretaries. In fact, Law Secretary was the first one who said, I want to understand how this can be adopted into the LIMS system. Next, please. This is the integration with Bashani, and Bashani is a fantastic software that has been developed by CDAC, and you can translate, a citizen files grievances across the country in multiple languages. In back end, it is translated into Hindi and English, and the reply is sent to him in the language in which he has filed the grievance. So the CPGRAMs currently receives grievances in all Indian languages, and replies are sent in all Indian languages. Next, please. To enhance the outreach and also to bridge the gap between the internet rich and the internet poor, the common service centers have been roped in. The common service centers celebrate 21st of every month as CPGRAM's Day, in which they motivate citizens to file grievances through the common service center portals. Next, please. The data strategy unit is a team of data analysts that enables us to map every grievance officer, the work done by every grievance officer, and how the grievances flow across the system. And we are in a position to identify if today a grievance is filed, the citizen is kept informed of every stage at which the grievance has moved. Next, please. This is one of the Sevottam national workshops with all Director Generals of ATIs, and there is a portal on which the administrative training institutes across the nation submit the number of grievance officers who have been given 1-day training programs, 3-day training programs, and some of them need even 5-day training programs because technology adoption is a constant process. Next, please. A CPGRAM's app is going to be unveiled next month, and this would make it even quicker. Right now, the portal is available on the Umang app, but we're coming up with a new app for CPGRAMs itself. Next, please. So this is the impact. As you can see, we have brought down the average closing time of a grievance to 19 days. So there are many grievances which are closed even quicker. That's what I said when I mentioned that if a citizen files a grievance in 2 weeks, he will get a reply. We've also managed to plateau the curve in terms of grievance registration. Otherwise, grievances were exploding. The national portals were receiving more than 22 lakh grievances. In COVID year, we got more than 30 lakh grievances when we add the states also. Today, we've managed to plateau the grievances. The number of grievance officers have gone up on the portal, but they have been mapped and monitored too. And citizen satisfaction levels have increased significantly. Today, we can say about 50% of the citizens who are filing grievances are expressing positive satisfaction with the grievance redressal. So technology brings tremendous force multiplier effects, and I'm sure this colloquium will go a long way in enabling each one of us to adopt technology in ensuring the digital empowerment of citizens and the digital transformation of institutions. Thank you.